Hello, welcome to this Thursday live stream. Can everybody hear me okay? First off, can everybody hear me? Yep. Hope everyone's doing well today. Yeah, so this is a Thursday live stream. It's just going to be a nice chilled session. Last week we did a Photoshop session where I showed you how to composite using Photoshop a previous model that I did. We're going to return back to the orc bust that we were creating previous live streams on the Thursday. And if you have any questions, you want to ask me anything, just go ahead and ask me, and I'll try my best to answer as best I can. Merkwood says the volume is good. That's great. So does Joseph Bunkowski. Great. Before we get started, I just want to do a little bit of shilling, if you don't mind. Do this every stream at the beginning. So if you want, you can become a member of my YouTube channel. Let me just get that banner. So you can become a member of my YouTube channel, and that's for $4.99 a month. And you'll be able to see past live streams and the past tutorial. The tutorial we're doing at the moment is the dragon from Dragonheart, but you'll be able to see all those other live streams, and there's good stuff in there. We go through and we talk a lot on the Thursdays about anything and everything, and I give you some of my wisdom as much as I can. Then there's the Patreon. So Patreon, again, you'll be able to get the live stream archives, plus you'll also be getting brand new tutorials, as well as models and money off on my online stores. Speaking of which, I do have an online store as well. Grab that as well. So I have plenty of online stores that you can go and grab all the tutorials, brushes, models. I've got my ArtStation has over 300 5-star reviews, so that sort of speaks for itself, I hope. And yeah, so with that being said, let's turn these off. Boom. Boom. Let's put some music in the background. Some crappy music in the background. And let's jump into ZBrush, shall we? Cool. Right. Oh, I forgot that I had the little window up there, so I'll just move this down here. Is the music all right? I'll just turn it down a little bit, maybe. Yeah. Cool. So, first of all, how's everyone doing this week? Been a very busy week for me, anyway. But I hope everyone else has had a very good week so far. Almost the weekend, so there's always that to look forward to. Last time we looked at this model, we were looking at how detailed it was and adding extra details on here as well, like the skin pores and the skin detail using alpha maps. We still have those alpha maps in here. We're not quite done yet with them, so we're going to add some more, or I'm going to add some more to this. I would say it's about 95, maybe 90% done with the actual sculpting. There are added extras that you're going to add on here. So you can add the hair on the back, or you can add them like a beard, and possibly like a shoulder pad on the side here, just to break up the symmetry a little bit. Essentially, the body of the character is pretty much done. But I just wanted to go in my standard brush here quick. Using a drag rectangle. I've got a couple of these veins, vein alphas, you can see here. They're just going to add some extra detail to the skin. So underneath the skin there, these veins. So just going to put them on very lightly. You don't want to protrude too much. Now, I'm not too fussed about where these veins are going to be or how they are, but if you really want to be anatomically correct, you can go and you can have a look at references online. But I think this is just going to be easier just to quickly add these on. I really want to get this model into Photoshop so I can show you how, well, actually I want to get to the next stage of ZBrush so I can actually show you how to texture, render, and composite this to a final result. Which is why last week was a bit of a change in the program, where we just sort of took a break from this character and we did something different. I just really want to get this one out of the way so that we can move on to something else, really. I'm sure people are wanted to see something different sculpt. So we're just going to add, see if that vein works there, maybe not. That one. Yeah. Again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I want to put one there. That one work? I don't know. Maybe not. Anyway, cool. So, kind of added some asymmetry. Oh, got a question here from Joseph. Joseph says, I would like to ask about Munya again. As far as I remember, there are 10 concept versions beside of the final. Have you touched the model in ZBrush between those versions, or all made in just Photoshop? Actually, for each one, I actually had to go in and adjust in ZBrush because they wanted slightly different rendering, slightly different poses and detail on the skin. So every single concept you see there was the details were changed in ZBrush and then put back into Photoshop. So I did it quite a few times. Actually, it wasn't actually 10 times I did it. It was more like 20. But those are the only ones I could find on my hard drive for that one. When it comes to concepting for film, it's easier to, you have to sort of work in a way that it's non-destructible. And that's very difficult when it comes to concepting, because most of the time, the final concept that you sculpt will probably go all the way through to final version of the model. So if you don't have a good concept or a non-destructible concept or something that's not 80% finished to the final piece, you might run into trouble later on when you have to clean it up and then finish the model off. I was very lucky with that one, actually, because I actually took that model from concept all the way through to final model by myself with the help of a look dev artist and a grooms artist for the hair and the clothing. I think they did the clothing, sorry. So I was very lucky in that I actually was able to take it from concept to modeling to UV mapping, texturing, and then passed it onto look dev. And that's not really that, it's not really heard of that you do that as a concept artist or an artist. But I was a build TD at the time, so I was actually doing more work than I should. Well, actually, I was doing all the work they told me to do, because that's how it works in film. But yeah, so each one of those concepts was a different sculpt inside of Photoshop, inside ZBrush, and then tweaked a lot more inside of Photoshop as well. Cool. So I was looking on the internet and I was thinking to myself, how are we going to, zhuzh this character up a bit more, make it look a bit more interesting than just having a pretty bland, boring looking orc. We have these images here, which are the AI images, obviously. If you didn't know, these are the AI images we're using just to give us something to think about when we're sculpting this character. And you can see on the AI image, they have a lot of these rings in his ear and sort of trinkets and stuff like that. Maybe we could add a trinket to one of the ears just to break up the symmetry again. And I also found this art, or this model. I can't remember who made this. Just give me 1 second. I'll just find out. It's Diego Rios. It's a character artist. I found this on ArtStation, and I was thinking to myself, that shoulder pad looks really cool. And maybe we can, for this character, add something like that to one side of the character. Now, this is going to make it, this is going to take it a little bit longer to finish this model if we add that in there. But I think if we don't add it in there, it's just going to look very plain and boring. And when you're doing a concept art, you want to give your creature or character some sort of characteristic or tell a story. You know, when you look at this guy, you can tell he's like a warrior. Maybe he's a bit older because he's got this beard that's growing. He's sort of got battle scars on him. You know, you can sort of tell a story with your character. I think maybe that's what we need to do. We need to pinch this idea of the shoulder pad and add it to our own character. And I think we'll do that with this one. So I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller. Just frame it. But before we do that, I am going to just come into the teeth here. I'm just going to use the move brush, the symmetry turned off. And I saw when I was looking at this model with fresh eyes, I saw that the tooth here was actually too straight. And I actually wanted to give it a bit of a bend. And just adding that little bit of flex in the tooth really gives the character a better feel as well. And I should do the same here as well, this one. So, yeah, no straight lines, because I don't think, you know, I mean, there are tusks that, you know, grow in straight lines, but I think it's better and more organic to have it nice and arched, you know. I'm just going to get a cup of coffee quick. Right. So, as well as adding the shoulder pad, I think maybe we could add some of that beard line from one of the other concepts. So if I just come up here, I was thinking, where was he? This one. You can see he's got this rather small beard going along here. And I think it just adds a bit more character to the character as well. So we'll look into that a little later. But I think what we want to do is just add this blocking of these shapes first. Now, when I'm doing hard surface, I like to work as organic rather than using the Z modeler. There's a lot of people that probably do the same thing, but I just can't get with the Z modeler UI just yet. I'm practicing. I am working on it. I mean, at work I have to use it, but I am not quite happy using it just yet. So I'm going to use an organic way of sculpting that shoulder pad in order to get the desired look. And so hopefully it will look like hard surface afterwards. Anyway, I've got a question here from Merkwares. It says, if you were working on a character or intended for use in film, how do you handle the high frequency details, or do you just pump up the division and sculpt it all in? So when you're working on a very high frequency details, those aren't done inside of ZBrush. The high frequency details you're talking about, like pores on the skin and all those little fine details, they're not typically done inside of ZBrush because ZBrush can't handle it. So what normally happens in film is that is given over to a texturized, and then that texturized, in this case me, because I did it myself, would then go and look for alphas on the internet or textures of, let's take Munja for example, textures of bark. Let me actually grab it quick, 1 second. I'll just grab the internet quick and just minimize this. When you're asking about the high frequency details, you're asking about the little dimples or actually, let me just hide that. Let me hide the question quick because it's in the way. So when you're asking about the high frequency details, you're asking about these little imperfections and really tight details in the skin and to make it like wood, right? Well, the majority of that is actually driven through textures, not through sculpting on the model. So you'd have a height map, a displacement map, a normal map, and those things working together, which you give over to the what do you call it, the look dev artist. Then the look dev artist would take those maps, plug it into a material, and then he would go in, or they would go in, and they would fine tune those maps in order to get the desired result. So essentially, you can be a look dev artist as well, but you'd be learning a lot of skills then to try to be a look dev artist. It's typically something you go specifically in for. But yeah, essentially, a look dev artist would take those details and then he would crank up the height map, use masks to mask in areas which are less detailed or more wet, less wet, dry, veins, subsurface scattering. He would do all that work using the maps that you provide to him on top of the model that you give him. So that's how you would get all those high frequency details. In fact, I did do that as well. If you come over to this, now this is an old sculpt, the thing, but you can see here, it's not very good because I wasn't very good at how I did it, but essentially the idea is there. So I did the sculpt and I took it into Substance Painter and then I cranked up the edges with a curved map, and then that gave me all the hard edges along the rocks, and I cranked that up so it gave the illusion of pulling it away from the surface and making it sharper. And then I added these little sort of rock textures that are inside a substance, like it's like a rocky texture basically that you could not do inside of ZBrush because, as I said, you don't have the topology to work with in there. So you'd have to take it into a texture program and do that outside of ZBrush. And just come down here. You can see. So this is the final kind of model down over here, right? This is the final model of the thing inside of ZBrush and the level of detail. And then just below that is me testing out the textures until I got it right at the end here. So I will go from left to right is how I tested the textures over and over again. This is what you would call look dev, basically. But that's the final model there, you see. It's not got any of that high frequency detail on it. It's just a very clean looking rocky texture or rocky sculpt. And then this is where it looks like with the detail on it, with the high frequency details, without any textures on it, just the displacement maps. And then obviously that's what it looks like with the textures on it. So yeah, that's how you do it. I'm sorry, it's a very long way of saying those things, answering the question, but hopefully that helps. We got a question here from ASB Art saying, hi, can you possibly do a portfolio review? Yeah, I could do a portfolio review. I was going to do, because someone asked last week on a Thursday, or inside my Discord, if I could do a talk on the books that I've done, these books. If I wanted to go over how I did these books. So I think what I'll do is next week Thursday, because I want to do some more of the sculpting, but next week's Thursday we can go over how I did the books, and then at the same time, because it's not going to take all night, but at the same time we can go over portfolios if you like. If you're in the Discord and you want me to go over your portfolios on the live stream, please send me your portfolios with a message saying for Thursday live stream, and then I'll add that, and then we can have a look at the portfolios that way if you want. I've got that banner still on there. There we go. Turn it off. Change the music. So cool. I'm just gonna do some more sculpting now. So I'm just gonna come over here to append a sphere. Where's the references? Yeah. I'm gonna try using a sphere for this. There's plenty of different ways you can do this to get the same result. You could even mask out the shoulder and extrude from the shoulder to get the same effect. I think this is going to be okay. Just gonna try to attempt to do this. Always tricky using this brush. Got one from John. I'm going to say John. John WX no W98. Hello, I've watched videos, your videos. I like the approach. Thank you very much. I got one from Joseph saying, what is the music? I'm seeking it since I heard it in one of your long videos. Yes, so the music I use is coming from Upbeat online. It's a what do you call it? Royalty-free music library, and you can go in there and you can, if you sign up and you pay a little bit of subscription, you can use their music in your videos. And or if you just want to listen to the music they have, you can just go in there and listen to their library music. It's pretty good stuff, though. Hey. We put this one. Oh, change that song quick. I wish it was just. I wish the music would just go to the next one. Can I do that? Oh, I don't know. Maybe somehow. So we got one here from Merkwares, saying, how often do you do these live streams? So I do live streams every Monday and Thursday. So Monday is the dragon live stream. So that's a dragon tutorial on how to sculpt the dragon from Dragonheart. And we're currently at part or episode, I think it was 8, maybe 7. No, it's probably 8. We're just getting to the point where we're finishing the block out of the main body of the dragon. And we're going to start to do some more detailing on the actual model. That's just a tutorial though. So on Mondays it's a full tutorial. There's not so much talking to the chat until the end, because I want to make it so it's more of a tutorial. And then Thursdays is just a chill, I'm sculpting this. You can ask me questions on anything you like, and it's more of a chilled session really. I hope that helps. Oh, and if you want to watch any of the past live streams, it's only available to the members. So yeah, if you want to, you can become a member and you can, watch all of them to your heart's content. Now, I know that this is probably going to be really annoying to people who do hard surface, but this is the way I do it. I'm sorry. I just find it more organic and a bit more artistically the way to do it, I'm not good with the formulaic sculpting of hard surface stuff. Well, not yet. I mean, I will learn, but not yet. Got one here from Joseph saying, have you seen Captain America yet? No, I haven't. But I did see this weekend, I did see Nosferatu, and oh my god, Nosferatu is probably one of my favorite, the latest version is now probably one of my favorite horror films. It's not scary in the way of, well, it's got a few jump scares, but it's not scary. It's more of like a really nice story, but the way the voice is with the vampire, when he starts to speak, he's in that Russian accent, and I think it's Russian or Transylvanian accent, and then the way just his voice commands like your attention. It was like just so. Every time he spoke, you just felt like there was something unearthly about him. I just absolutely loved it. I could watch it again and again and again. But the Captain America one, I have seen the spoilers for the Red Hulk fight and all that. So I don't know. It's Marvel films recently just haven't been something I've been into at the moment. I'm more of a horror guy, I think. Creature features and stuff like that. But yeah. One here from John saying, I just joined the server. When I'll start the new project, I'm eager to hear feedback. Yeah, brilliant. Join the Discord server as well. I think there's a link below. You can add your work in progresses into there, and we can I'll have a look, and the people in the Discord can have a look, and we just sort of help each other out, and and I'm trying to grow a community there as well. So yeah, cool. Got one here from Dave Newhouse. Imagine Robert Eggers making a Bloodborne movie. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. That Nosferatu just fucking, oh my god, it was just so good. Sorry, swearing. But yeah, it was just so good, man. I think this is gonna. It's gonna be okay. I'm just gonna come over here to the ZBrush. Oh, the Dynamesh, sorry. I'm gonna use project on this one, because I want these hard surfaces. So I'm just going to hit project on this and just project that. I think that's too high. It's way too high. Bring the topology down a bit. That'll do. The best thing about this, because of the way it's sculpted. Oh my god, what's going on there? Let me undo this. I think something went wrong here. Anyway, if you get something like this happen on your model, and whenever you Dynamesh, it goes through, like it starts poking holes through, it's because the geometry here is too close to the geometry on the other side. So what you want to do is, I have this button called backface masking on down here that I can turn on. I'm just gonna, using the trim dynamic, I'm just gonna alt and click and sculpt it until it sort of comes back out. But it shouldn't affect. Oh, sorry. Shouldn't affect the other side, but it did. It's because backface masking is per brush. So every time you use a brush, you have to turn backface masking on. So I'm just going to use that again with backface masking turned on. And I'm just going to fix that area there, and that should do it. Now I'm going to use the. I don't want to polish my Dynamesh just to polish that a bit. Just gonna duplicate this one, move it up, scale it down. Looking on the chat. Sorry, got one here from Can You Print It? It says, "Cool, I'm actually doing your tutorial. I'll be happy to share some progression." Yeah, definitely show your progression. I actually want more people to show their progression on my Discord so that we can get some conversations going and share some ideas. I think what I'm going to do in my Discord as well is, it's got backface masking on. What I'm going to do in my Discord as well is I'm going to go again and try to streamline it, because I noticed there's some channels that just don't get used, and I just want to have a really basic streamlined Discord. I don't want to have hundreds and thousands of channels on there. I just want to have it like, the work in progress, chat, portfolio, memes, if you want memes. Some of you do. And then, just have it like maximum of 5 or 6 channels so that we can really focus on the art side of things a bit more. because I think having too many channels is just it's not great. I got one here from, I can't say that name unfortunately, but it says, "Hello, I am Japanese. I always watch this channel, and it's my favorite channel. Thank you always." Oh, well, thank you for joining me. I don't know what time it is in Japan, if you're from Japan or in Japan, but thank you very much for joining this live stream. And yeah, I mean, it's a recently new thing that I've been doing, so you haven't missed too much. This is only, was it episode 7? Yeah, episode 7. But thank you for joining. Cool. I'm gonna change the shape of this. I think I'm going to use the knife tool for this. So at the moment, I'm using the clip curve brush, but I think for this, I'm going to use a knife curve instead. It just gives it a better finish. It doesn't give you that horrible edge that comes along here when you use the other version. Bring this at the front. Oh, I'm going to change that music. It's getting on my nerves now. I just wish I had a music on here that was just nice the whole time. Got one here from Joseph. It says, "At the moment, I have some struggle with Draco's head. I don't know how, but first it was a little bit T-Rexy, and then it went into a Velociraptor. So I'm rewatching that session and trying to fix it." Yeah, I had a little bit of a struggle with it, to be honest. I think the head still needs a little bit of work, so don't worry too much if you feel like you're sort of maybe falling behind, because I think that it needs a little bit more work to look more in line with the concept. So, just keep at it. If you need to, as I keep saying to everybody, if you find you get yourself stuck on anything in 3D, step away from it, go do something else, give your eyes some time to rest, and then come back and try again. But yeah, it's a tricky one, especially when trying to do something that looks like something that's already around. If you know what I mean? It's like if it's got a point of reference, then it's very difficult to actually make it look exactly like that. That's why I don't do famous people's faces or celebrity faces that much or that often, because it's the fastest way for someone to know if you're an expert in sculpting or not. If you get it wrong, people will know immediately that you don't have the skill to do that. But do it in your own time and practice in your own time. Not everything has to be put online of your artwork, so take your time, really. Like right now, I am sort of struggling with this. A little bit of a struggle. I'm going to turn back base masking back on. Use the AccuCurve for this now. AccuCurve button just helps to move your model more precisely. And sharpen these edges up. I use the H polish for this. Now H polish that up a bit. Cool. Got one here from Hofi76 saying, could you explain the Acu curve? Sure. So the Acu curve works best with the move brush. So if we get the move brush out, sorry. So I think I mentioned this in the Dragon tutorial setup, but essentially the Acu curve works like this. So if we have the move brush, right, without the Acu curve turned on, you can see how much of an effect the radius has when you move something, right? So when you're moving one point, it's actually affecting a huge area around here. If you turn on Acu curve and we keep the brush the same sort of size, the influence now is a lot smaller because it's trying to drag just that little point that you're trying to select. So this is a great tool if you are doing hard surface stuff, or you really want to get like a sharp edge or point. It's a great tool to use just to move things that are a little bit too cumbersome with the normal move brush into place by just sort of moving a very small point on your model. And you can just come in here with the trim dynamic and sharpen it up a bit. I mean, there's plenty more things the Acu curve can be used for as well, but for me, it's predominantly I use it for the move brush in order to move a very particular point. Oh man, John has just said, hey everyone, I have to go back to work now. Lately, I notice I can't be multitasking anymore. I used to have podcasts with me. Oh, sorry about that, man. Good luck at work, though. Yeah. I can get that curve. See the Acu curve here? I'm using it. I'm trying to get this area here straighter. It's really great with the Acu curve on. And then I can just use the edge polish. Just polish it. Now we have a straight line. Of course, this is not the greatest way to, hard surface sculpt, as I mentioned before. There are better techniques to use, but for me, I like the organic way of sculpting, so it just comes a bit more naturally to me. At the moment, just going around with the H polish brush, and I'm just polishing up each face. And remember, I'm not too worried about what's actually going to happen at the back here, on the back side of this, because I do know that this piece would actually come all the way around the back here, but because we're going to probably, most likely, render it at a pose like this, we don't need to worry too much about what's going on the back of the character as a concept. If you'd like, you could add that to the back by just masking this piece out here, and then bending it, pulling it around a bit more, so that actually wraps around the model, like so. If you want to, make it a bit more cleaner, especially if you're going to have rotating around turntable. Another thing the artist down here did actually was he added the little biceps. So he cut off the bicep halfway down, but he added a bit of the arm to give it a bit more to play with, a bit more to look at. Sorry, but I don't think we're going to do that. I think we should be fine with what we have. I'm just going to do the same thing for this one now. So you grab the H polish, sharpen these up. Hope everyone's having a good night so far. I'm just going to mask out this area. Again, I'm just going to rotate it around the back of the character. So put that there. Just give it that bend. I'm just going to dynamesh this quick. And just get rid of those artifacts here. Horrible edges. So the best way to do that is to use a smooth brush, just smooth it, then retopo, then smooth and retopo, or retopo, dynamesh, sorry, until you get a cleaner version of what you have. It works 99% of the time. Cool. Now, this has taken quite a bit of time because we use this method. I mean, it would probably be quicker if we just did primitive shape sculpting, to be honest. But it's more of a sculpting challenge, really, rather than hard surface, so it'll be fine. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it as a block out for now. Just nice block out of shapes. We could probably sharpen that area up a bit more, but you leave that there for now. Then I'm going to create this little ring in the middle here. I'm going to append a donut ring. In fact, we're going to add the earring first. So we've got the ring out anyway, so we might as well add the earring first. And that's not too difficult. You just need a donut. And we just place that where one of these would be. You get the trim dynamic out. I'm going to subdivide this a couple of times. And just going to roughly, using the trim dynamic, give it some roughness so it looks like it's been roughly made out of metal. So there's no hard or sort of soft surfaces on it. Real quick, like that. And then as an added sort of, what do you call it? As an added bit of detail, I'm just going to use the trim adaptive brush. I'm just going to very lightly touch the model with it. Just gives it a bit more sharpness to it. This is a great brush to use for dents in rocks and metal. Well, especially if you're doing sort of stylistic. And we now have the earring on his ear. Just going to rotate it, sits better. And we can also duplicate this one and reuse it for his nose. And in fact, for this earring one, we're going to go a little bit different actually. We won't put it down here on the earlobe. We're going to put it here at the top. We're going to make it quite small. And we just duplicate this again. And just add another one. So we add 2 there instead. I mean, you can go to town. You can even put them on the tusks if you want, or on his teeth as a sort of band on the teeth. We just see if there's any questions here. Joseph is asking, would you please tell us about your work on the Justice League? Yeah, sure. The Justice League. So when I started at MPC, one second. So when I started at MPC, quite a few years ago, I think the first project I worked on was the Justice League, and it's not like you might imagine. I was a texture artist back then. I wasn't a build TD. I was a texture artist, and I was just finishing the project off. So the main bad guy, Steppenwolf, I think his name is. This is, by the way, this is the bad. I think it's the bad version of the Justice League. I don't like the design they came up with for the Justice League 2016, I think it was. I think that the Snyder version was a lot better. But essentially, what I had to help out with was just final shots and final cleaning of the textures. So I added some more bruising to the face when he got punched by Superman, and sort of just very minor texture details. I didn't really come in at the very beginning of that project, and then they swiftly moved me on to Predators. Yeah, the Predator. Yeah, that film. Where I, did the Predator dog textures, and I helped design some of the blockouts for the gauntlet, for one of the weapons on the gauntlet of the main Predator. But yeah, the Justice League one is a very in and out, very quick in and out. I think there was a lot of that going on when I first started in MPC. There's a lot of shows coming in very quickly to get fixed or change a little bit here and there, and then out, and then you moved on to the next project very quick. I think in the space of a year that I was working there, I think I might have worked on 8 projects in total, I think, but very quickly in and out of each one. So it's not like you have time to, sit back and enjoy it really. But yeah, it was good. It was a good environment, good team, good people, and a good experience as well. Cool. So for that ring, yeah, for this sort of ring down here, I'm just going to append a new ring. Now you could append a new ring, or maybe just delete this one. Maybe there's a brush inside of ZBrush we could use to do the same thing. So if you press B on the keyboard and then I, you'll get the insert mesh brushes that come with ZBrush. And sometimes you'll be able to find something in here that could help with your project. It doesn't always have to be something you sculpt from scratch. So if you see, if I click on that one, it's going to give me a bunch of insert mesh brushes up here. You just go along here and just see if there's anything in here that might work. What we want. Some of the stuff is very sci-fi. See, that would be quite cool, but maybe not. See if there's anything in IMM clothing. Just a real buckle. These are all buttons and mechanical things, isn't it? I think we're just going to go with the ring, I think. The subdual ring. Yeah, let's just use this one. Let's move this out. Move it down. Rotate it. Scale it down. Turn on symmetry. I just want to do a little bit of change to the shape of this. I'm going to use the Acu curve again. I'm just going to change the shape to more of a square. Get the back of here as well. That'll do. I use a trim dynamic. Subdivide this a couple of times, and just like we did with the earring and the nose ring, just gonna flatten the front, flatten the back, and subdivide that again. Turn off subdivision. Turn off symmetry, sorry. And just gonna do some freehand. Get the damn standard out. Maybe this is a right brush. Just gonna go with it. Gonna add some nicks and scratches and deform the shape a bit more if you like. I think there's a brush called Slash. Slash 3. Is that it? Let's see what happens. That's basically like the damn standard. Slight different. There we go. Rotate that. Put it down lower on the chest. There. See, the problem with our one is that our chest is quite low down and we've got a long neck, whereas this guy's got quite a short neck. That's probably our fault because we didn't really think about that. But if you want, you could just move this neckline up a bit. That's a bit better. Yeah. Let me just change this music quick. Ophie's saying he's got a. He says he's doing great. Early 6-day weekend. Bloody hell! It is our holiday, or lucky you. Cool. So now we can add these sort of belt. I think I'm going to use a belt on both sides. I'm not going to bother with the chains. I'm going to use a belt on both sides, or piece of leather strap, and I am going to use the curve strap. Now, when you're using these brushes with the curve on it, it's not going to let you, or like an insert mesh, it's not going to let you do it with subdivision that's got a model that's got subdivision. So you need to select the model without the subdivision levels on, and then retry that, and you should get a model. Now it's just going to tuck in under there, so we're not too worried about this going all the way around the back. I'm just going to tuck it in under there for now, and I'm going to change the scale of this a bit. Yep. So before you do anything else, just remember that it is still attached to this model, even though it's masked out. So you need to remember to come in here and do split by mask points, and then your model is free to use, and it's not constrained to that other geo. Right, that'll do for the first strap. Gonna rotate this. Oops. Turn that geo back on. Just gonna rotate that slightly. Now, what you could do is you could just duplicate this model if you want, and move it over to the side, and then just adjust the adjust it. Like this. Or if you want it to be more attached to the geometry, you just have to draw out a new curve, because it hugs the geometry better. And I'm just going to lock the beginning of that curve. So we come over to the stroke curve, and we lock the start. That's going to make it so that it won't move the start point of your model. And just going to move that end point over a bit, and then pull on the end here just to stretch the geometry so it sits better. And once I'm done with that, I'm just going to split the mask tool, and then I'm going to move geo over a bit. Yeah, of course, the geo over here, it doesn't really matter too much. Okay, that's not too bad. You can see how we're getting a bit more character to our character. Just going to return to this one, and just going to cut along here, just to clean that up a bit. And we're going to work on these a little bit more. But before the end of the stream, oops, what's that there? I just want to do a bit more detailing on other areas quick. So we're going to leave the block out for now, like that. That'll be a good starting point for the next video we do of this character. But before I go, I just want to maybe add some facial hair along here, or actually maybe we should add the ponytail, or add a ponytail. Let's just add the facial hair first. So the way I'm going to do this is using the model underneath, so the Dynamesh version. I'm just going to mask out using the paintbrush, making sure symmetry is turned on. Just going to mask out along the jawline here, and up the chin. Depending on how high you want to take this. Cool. Cool. So let's say we want this sort of beard for our character. What we can now do is we could just come over to the extraction. Turn on extract. Probably play around with the thickness a little bit. Give it a bit more thickness. The extraction won't actually do anything until you press the accept button. So you can play around with these settings here until you're happy with the scale of it, and then you can just hit accept. I think that's going to be all right, because we want a bit more geometry to play with. Otherwise, it's going to be really difficult. You can also add double-sided surface, and what this does is just makes it so it's. I think this is how it works. It extracts out the front as well as in towards the face. So that just gives you a bit more depth for your geometry inside the face. So I'm just going to accept that. You can see it's double thickness. And I'm going to hit unsolo everything. Make sure symmetry is turned on. Oops. As you can see, we still got the mask on, so we could turn the mask off. I'm just going to smooth out that geometry. The geometry is quite thick, or quite a lot of geometry, so I'm just going to turn the resolution down and also Dynamesh it. Oh. Turn down a bit more. That'll be better. Cool. And now we can use the move brush to manipulate it. We still have AccuCurve turned on, just remember. This could be quite handy actually for this. Pretty good. Turn AccuCurve off quick. And you can just pull this up to as high as you like, I guess. Again, we're just blocking in, and we'll make it ready for the next time we look at it. Make sure that goes all the way up there. I'm not going to bother with the eyebrows. because I think it'll work without. And you can always paint those in inside of Photoshop if you really like, if you really want eyebrows. So we're just going to leave it like that. And now I'm just going to re-dynamesh it just so it's clean topology. I'm just going to, you can also, if you like, use a snake hook brush. So that's BSH on the keyboard. And what this does is it pulls the geometry out, and then you can kind of make these a bit longer if you like. It works slightly different to the move brush, where it's actually pulling the geometry down to extend it. Change the trim dynamic quick. I'm just gonna flatten that. Might have to add a bit of geometry under here. So we get the move brush and we just pull it out. Grab the clay buildup. That's a bit better. Yeah, we could probably make the center of that beard a little bit more asymmetrical later on, if you like. Got one here from Tomorrow saying, "I can't believe I've been using ZBrush for 5 years without knowing how to lock a curve end." Yeah, there's a lot of things even I don't know about this program. Still, like I say, I keep using the same techniques. I should really branch out inside of ZBrush and look into more things, but you kind of get comfortable with just knowing a few of the brushes, and that can take you quite far. So yeah, don't be too bad. Don't be too hard on yourself. Yeah, that'll do. And just gonna pull this down on the sides a bit. Not very organically laying. Right. If you guys got any other questions, please let me know. I'll be wrapping up soon this live stream. So the idea of next week Thursday is to do the book cover walkthrough, and then if you have a portfolio you want me to review, if you're a student or if you want some advice on your portfolio, then you can leave it in the Discord channel. You can leave a link to your portfolio in there, and I'll add that to the live stream next week Thursday, so we can all have a look, and I can give you some opinions or some suggestions on how to, if you depending on depending on what you want out of your portfolio or what sort of job you're trying to go for. Oh, I'm dying. Cool. Yeah, so the other thing you could probably add to your character, or this character, would be like a necklace if you wanted. I'm not going to go that far with it. I think I'll just leave it as it is. I might just add the beginnings. So if I just add append a sphere and put this, oops, put this roughly about there. Scale it down. Use a move brush. Symmetry turned on. Just going to make a bit of a little bit of hair at the back. And let's see if we can do this with the snake hook brush. Just gonna pull this out. And I'm gonna come over to Dynamesh. And Dynamesh it. Smooth it. Use the move brush. Just clean it up a bit. Inflate brush. And I'm gonna rotate it down a bit more. Here we are. I'm just going to grab a cylinder. Smooth brush. There we are. Give him some hair, or the beginning of some hair. We'll refine it a little. We'll refine it in a different video, I think. But what you could do is you can make a wraps out of this. So we duplicate this and then we rotate it slightly, and then just keep duplicating it and moving it out. Yeah. Move. Cool. A lot more character now. All right, so I think I'm going to leave it there for tonight. And like I mentioned before, next week we'll take a break again from this. We'll look at something else, do some talks, and I'll show you how to. I'll review some art portfolios, and also show you how I created either this book or the other book. Just walk you through the sort of steps that I took to make this. Yeah, so that's gonna be it, I think. I just want to remind you that I have got a YouTube membership. If you want to watch the other live streams or tutorials, you can become a member of my YouTube membership. And I've also got a Patreon where you can also get tutorials, brushes, money off my online stores. The online stores as well. I've got a Flip Normals, Gumroad, ArtStation, Cube Normals, Cube Brush. And they are all in the description box below, so go check those out as well. I just want to say thank you to my YouTube members. So that's Nitya Kracht, the Cool Beans podcast, Mateo Selek, Jace Burgoyne, Artza, Dave Newhouse, Alper. Oh my god, this will be a hard one. Alper Natif 35, Ganesh, and Joseph Bunkowski, as well as my Patreons. I'm just going to read the tier 3 off. So that's Aaron Todman, Ganesh, Robert Bacherman, Owen Vandermine, Wayne, and Fernando Cisneros Pasos. I hope I said that right. There's always a tongue twister in there somewhere. And yeah, so I want to thank you. I'm just going to turn this music off because everybody must be sick of it by now. I want to thank you all for coming tonight. We will get through this character, I promise you, and then we'll move on to something more creaturey. So maybe we'll do a four-legged creature or a dinosaur or something like that. You guys can leave it in my Discord. You can ask, what you'd like to see me sculpt. Maybe we'll do that instead. But yeah, so I will be live streaming next Monday for the dragon tutorial, where we'll be looking at getting into more detailed stuff for the dragon tutorial. So that should be fun now that we've got all the block out done as well. If you have work in progress artwork you want to show, please go to my Discord channel, join my Discord, put your work in there, and we can all talk, talk through your portfolios or your work in progresses, and you get to chat with other people, like-minded people as well. But yeah, so join me next Monday for the next live stream tutorial, and have a good weekend, guys. All right, cool. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in more exclusive content and want to support my work further, then please check out my Patreon page at MLW_creative for more. Also, view past live streams you might have missed in Tier 3 tutorial support, where I will be archiving future streams moving forward. If you are interested in other full-length tutorials, brushes, and models, then check out my online stores for more useful content. I would also like to thank all my subscribers and patrons for supporting me for this long. Again, thanks for watching and stay safe.